Why didn't you choose to study music?
Like for me, it wasn't about knowing the instrument so well. I had my own relationship with my instrument. For me, when it gets too technical, for me, music is just something I want to be listening to. I want to feel good. I don't want to be thinking too much about it. We always have a demo. Like if we hit the studio, we know exactly what we're recording. We do leave a little space. Like in the moment, suddenly you feel like, hey, maybe try this or try that. We will. But it's only a money restriction.
One instrument that you'd love to play?
Drums.
Okay. Electric or acoustic?
Acoustic.
Sunrise or sunset for creative inspiration?
I would have to say sunrise because it just always rose where I'm from. So it didn't really sit.
Nice. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sound Dada. I'm Malay, and today it's a genuine pleasure to introduce an artist whose musical journey I've followed with immense admiration, witnessing firsthand his evolution into the mature talent that he is today. He's truly exceptional musician, composer, and singer, and his unique soundscapes have always captivated me. What makes his journey even more fascinating is that he's self-taught with a profound effect of his family, influence of his family, his brother Sharad and his parents shaping his artistry right from the very beginning. I'm talking about the incredible Adi Rao, and we are about to explore how he crafts his captivating stories through songs, the inspirations that drive him, and what makes his musical voice so distinct. So let's dive in with Adi Rao. So welcome to the show, Adi. Thanks for coming and taking some time off on a Sunday afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Thrilled to have you here. So I wanted to know from your side, as a musician, what was that early spark that you thought, okay, this is it. This is something that I want to do.
Right. I think we always had music around.
Yeah.
For starters, even before me and my brother Sharad started playing the guitar, we were avid listeners of music at home. I must have started playing around when I was 10, 11, 12, somewhere there.
Okay.
But I really started enjoying the instrument when I was 15 and I had met this very close friend of mine, Karthik Manoj.
Okay.
And we started playing together, formed a band, did school culturals and all the usual, the usual nonsense. I think that's when I realized that it's something I want to do, and I slowly started writing. One breakup happened.
Oh, great.
And then a nice love song came out of it.
Nice.
And then, and that's where it started. I realized that I liked writing more than anything, and I could write.
Nice. But then, so what was the first instrument that you thought, you wanted to get into songwriting? So what was it the lyrics first that you started writing, or did you want to learn an instrument or something?
Yeah. I think, actually, initially I wanted to learn the drums.
Oh.
But then it never happened. And we had just somehow found ourselves learning the guitar. And it was always the instrument I knew how to play. So when I started writing, it was just naturally on the guitar.
Nice.
Write one random chord progression.
But how do you learn the guitar?
I went for a class.
Okay.
I did go for a class. Okay. But it was definitely valuable. Like my basics, very basics are from that class. But I was young. I didn't really care about the class or whatever. Most of my learning happened post that, and just by jamming or meeting new musicians or whatever.
So like you said, your family, and also I've been to your house, and I know how your entire family is crazy musical influences. So can you just elaborate more on how your family has played a role in where you are today?
They have definitely played a huge role. For starters, great music, like you said. It's always been top-notch artists, really good music that we've listened to. So you don't realize it, but when you're writing later on, you start seeing these influences slowly creeping in, with random artists. So that's one thing.
Yeah, for example, what were the influence, what were these, artists that really influenced you?
I think one big one that was always around home was Billy Joel.
Okay.
Paul Simon.
Okay.
And my dad he's also tried to keep in touch with contemporary music, so there was a lot of that also going around. We had our Green Day and James Blunt and all those guys as well.
Correct.
So those were the influences for sure. Musically, I think that was how they helped us. But also, they're just extremely supportive. And you need that support, right? Like any time I'm low on cash or I just need someone to talk to or something, they're always there. They get the scene. So huge support for us for sure.
Nice. Like when you were listening to all these songs, was there a moment okay, oh my god, this song is amazing, I want to create something like that? Were there like few songs that you had?
I think most of those for at least the initial days was I still have that. That still happens to me. Like sometimes you'll hear a song and be like, damn, that it blows your way so
yeah,
much.
exactly. Yeah.
But I think initially it was Dave Matthews all the way. Dave Matthews Band. I really got into Dave Matthews. Probably the song Ants Marching or Jimmy Thing from that album Under the Table and Dreaming, the first album. That was definitely the initial one.
So then, are there any influences from those artists into your current songwriting? Do you see that they influencing your songwriting or something?
Yeah, I do for sure. Songwriting for sure.
In what particular way?
With Dave Matthews, I think there is a certain I don't know how to describe it, because actually it's weird because not a lot of people notice the Dave Matthews influence, but recently somebody had come up to us and they were like, you sound like you listen to a lot of Dave Matthews. I was like, damn, man, that's crazy that you saw that in the music.
Nice.
But I think we try to keep... Dave Matthews is very interesting structures when it comes to his songwriting. So I think with that, there's a big influence from Dave Matthews. Maybe the freedom of structure in a song, and it's very feel-based. It's not very technical. It's just feel-good music. So I think that influence definitely came from Dave Matthews.
Nice.
Yeah.
So... I mean, so there are these musical influences, family influences, but were there any like personal experiences that, because songwriting and music is mostly about emotion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so where does that emotion come in? So were there any personal experiences that, pulled you towards writing something?
Definitely. Initial ones was all love that pulled me towards it. One breakup after the other. A couple of songs later, got an album.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. It's again like I'm still experiencing new things, especially at this time because we just moved to Bombay like 3-4 years back. So still so many new things I'm experiencing.
Correct.
But yeah, my music is very very experiential, like the way I write it. It's always just what I'm going through or that day or what I've gone through that week or maybe something happened in the family or so it is very very focused on everything that I experience. So any major event really.
So what was can you give an example? Okay, this was a major event in recent past and that kind of influenced a song.
I think so like with the EP for example, Thoughts Freeze, that was for me one of my favorite written songs. That was about leaving Manipal.
Okay.
The EP was basically about leaving home for the first time and going to college in Manipal. And the last song of the EP, the title track, is Thoughts Freeze. And so Thoughts Freeze was essentially like the last 2 months of college. And it was just about that 3 years. It was 3 years in a 2.5 minute song, essentially. And it was about leaving back some great friends. That I think was a very important song for me.
Nice. So when, like you said, like, you're writing and, emotions and all of these things. So how does your songwriting process work? Do melodies come first? Are you strumming chords and like, melody is struck? Or do you write something in that heat of the emotion?
Right.
So what comes first to you?
Right. It's very random. Sometimes sometimes it's the lyrics, sometimes it's the melody.
Okay.
With Thoughts Freeze in particular, it was the lyrics and the melody. I had a bunch of lines and I just had like a rough melody in my head and then just put the chords to it. But on the other hand, a song like Wish I Could Swim, I wrote the progression first and then wrote the melody and then filled in the lyrics. So whatever strikes in the moment. I try not to question it also. Sometimes it just flows.
Nice.
And you just do it, like let it happen.
Nice.
And figure it out later if you need to change something or if you whatever.
Nice.
But,
But then, has it ever happened that you have written, like, a lot of times, people do it both ways, like, right? Like, they put in melodies and then they try to fit in the words.
Right.
But with lyrics, when you write words first, at that time, most of the times, the words might not fit into the melody.
Right.
So, the phrasing, do you change the words as you go, or do you keep the words as true to, like, what the thing is?
It depends. Like, sometimes the line is really good and you don't want to change it. In those cases, I would rather fool around with the melody and try and make it fit somehow and sound good within the thing. Definitely the priority is that the song needs to sound good. So if I have to change a word, even if I really don't want to have to change a line, I will at the end of the day. But I'll definitely try and see how I can. There'll be some possibility of keeping that thing in there and making it good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, how it sounds.
Yeah.
So I want you to elaborate a little more on that. Yeah. Like, as an artist, there's always this question: ki, is the song complete? Right?
Yeah.
So do you ever feel like, okay, this is it? Like, now the song is complete? It can be as simple as like an acoustic version.
Right.
But when is it that time that you feel that the song is complete?
Right. That's a good question. It's when it's just me writing the song, there is that moment where it's done. Like, I'm very convinced, okay, this is the structure of the song, this is what it's gonna be. But for me, that's just still 50% of the job. What really gets tricky is when we hit the studio and start recording.
Yeah.
And then we can go for days and days tweaking, changing this and changing that.
Yeah.
For this EP, we told ourselves we'll take our time, do our thing.
Yeah.
But at some point, we just had to tell ourselves enough. Because we could have kept going.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, because when you hit the studio, a lot of thoughts come in. Creative.
Exactly.
Creative juices are flowing.
So much. Yeah.
So that's what I was asking. When is it that you feel okay, let's enough? Like, this is it.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I think we felt it. We felt it with Wish I Could Swim maybe a little bit because it was a very rigidly produced song. Like, it's parts are very specific. And I felt like we could keep adding more and more parts. Like, put another guitar layer, put another guitar layer. But Sharad was like, enough. Like, it's sounding full enough.
Yeah. So this is what I wanted to ask you next. So in terms of like, when you hit the studio, do you already have these parts like, in your head, or like kind of written down onto a demo or like something, or do you go to the studio and then once the parts are like written down, then you come up with something, and then you come up with a counter melody, then you come up with something? So what happens?
Right. We always have a demo. Like, if we hit the studio, we know exactly what we're recording. We do leave a little space. Like, in the moment, suddenly you feel like, hey, maybe try this or try that, we will. But it's only a money restriction. Like, if I would love to sit in the studio with a song I've just written and start writing that song in that studio with the band. Like, just rent out a studio for the entire day, sit there, now you have a song, guitar, plug in, fool around, try and figure out a part. I would love to do that.
Nice.
But yeah, I think it's just the money restriction.
Yeah.
Like, so every time we hit the studio, we know exactly these are the parts that we're going to put down.
Got it. So now, can you tell me like a story of one particular song that probably has challenged you the most in terms of songwriting, in terms of composition, like in terms of like probably just producing it overall, and how do you see it come to life?
With this, so we've only recorded this EP so far.
Yeah.
It was one thing that was tricky was finding the concept. So we were very clear that we wanted to have this piece of work, like this couple of tracks that flow into each other. We didn't want just 5 tracks in an EP. We wanted the music also to tell a story. We didn't want it to just be a lyrical story.
Correct.
Like a nice sonic concept. That was very tricky initially. Composing those bits was very. We went through all sorts of things. First, we thought we'll have like this one connector that comes back after every song, and there'll be like a rap in that connector. And then you're going, it was some crazy idea. And then we like sent it to some rappers, and they sent some ideas back, but like wasn't clicking, of course, because we're extremely indie singer-songwriter type stuff. That rap wasn't
Correct.
really clicking. Then we went through all sorts of ideas until we finally reached this, what we have now. I think the composition of those parts were a little tricky for us because it was new for all of us. So navigating that was a little tricky.
Yeah.
Within the EP, these are songs I've written through the years, and I must have written all of them like 3 years before we even thought of recording this EP.
How much time?
3 years.
Wow.
Like through college, I would write these songs, and they were just songs that I wrote. Like we never thought of these have to be released, or like, you don't think of that. I was in college, just writing songs, doing whatever.
Yeah.
Then when we decided, okay, we should release something, we sat and we created this concept saying, hey, it can actually have these 3 songs that are all Manipal related, 4 songs. Why don't we just make like an EP that's about Manipal?
Can you just say what your EP is called? What are the songs in it?
Yeah. So the EP is called Thoughts Freeze. It's basically about my 3 years in Manipal, starting with me leaving home for the first time, then me figuring out myself in Manipal, because the first time I was away from home. So just figuring myself out, figuring out who I was or who I wanted to be, and then finding love in Manipal, and then finally leaving Manipal after college was done. And it's out on all streaming platforms. Thoughts Freeze is the name of the EP.
Nice. So when did it struck you ki, okay, I want to release these songs out? Because I've known you for a while, and like, this was lingering, I think, and then finally it's been a year or a little more over a year that you all have put in your thought and like everything into it. So can you just elaborate on that?
It was so we had finished. I was supposed to, first of all, I didn't even want to go to college. I was quite clear that music was what I was going to do.
That's great.
Yeah, but my parents wanted me to go to college. I also it wasn't like a harsh thing or anything. They just wanted me to go to college, so I went to college, and I loved college. But I always knew that at the end of college, I was going to go to Pune, where Sharad was.
Okay.
And we were going to start doing music.
So the clarity was there.
It was there. It was always there. Amazing. As soon as I hit 11th standard, I knew I was going to. Awesome. And for some reason, I've always known. Till 11th, between like the 5th and 11th standard, I was sure I was going to be cooking all my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then 11th, And then 11th, there was this weird shift after I met this Karthik Manoj and all these other boys from Chennai. And then that hard shift happened. And then I was clear. And then by then, Sharad had also started doing music. He started playing with the Wanderlings, and he was doing all his sessions. So I was like, oh, okay, you can actually have a career in this thing, right?
Yeah.
And since he was already doing it, I just had to get there and we could start doing our thing. Because we would also still play at some parties. My parents would be like, pull out the guitars and, like whatever.
Yeah, all night jams.
That kind of scene.
Yeah.
Everybody singing along, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was there. Quite clear. Clearly it was there.
Yeah.
So as soon as we finished, moved to Pune and recorded.
So then you said you didn't want to do graduation and your parents wanted to like pursue studies. But my question to that would be, then why didn't you choose to study music?
I did think about it, but there was just something about, like for me, it wasn't about knowing the instrument so well. I had my own relationship with my instrument or with my words or whatever, but it wasn't about being the best musician or something like that. So it never really. For me, I felt like that would have slowed me down a little bit. Okay. Just in that time of my life. At this point, I feel like I would love to have that knowledge, because now I know how to balance the thing between the knowledge of your instrument and what you're trying to put out. So I feel like now that knowledge could help me, but it just wasn't that for me. It wasn't about mastering my instrument or mastering my voice.
But have you found it, was it challenging for you to enter the real life, like actual musicians world with like a lot of trained musicians versus like self-taught musicians? Was it challenging enough, because you collaborate and play with a lot of other musicians as well? So
not really. I feel we have a good sense of music, so I'm able to deliver a basic feel. I can do a basic job. You'll get the job done. And if you put me in like a jazz band and all, then it's canned.
Yeah.
But
sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, but with any of these other guys, it's pretty. I feel like I can get the job done. I can deliver a feel.
So my next question was like with the future generation. I mean, a lot of people think you need to have a formal education. You need to have like something that you're pursuing, education in what you want to do ahead.
Right.
Like according to you, how much do you think that carries how much weight according to you?
The thing is, I know people who have gone through the best education. They're very technically sound, but I don't like the music they make at all. Like,
and why so?
I have no idea. For me, when it gets too technical, for me, music is just something I want to be listening to. I want to feel good. I don't want to be thinking too much about it. Like with Jacob Collier, for example. There's no doubt he's like one of the most supremely talented musicians right now. But I've never been able to connect with his music. There's just too much happening. If I could understand the technicality behind it, then I would probably enjoy it a lot more.
100%, yeah.
So, yeah, I think, but then again, I also know other people like Sunny, for example, from the Easy Wanderlings, who doesn't know anything about theory. When he wants to say play B, he'll say play A+2.
Yeah.
So, but like the progressions he writes, the songs he writes, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? And like sometimes I look at those progressions, I'm like, how the hell did you write that? Like there's so much technicality going on behind it, even without you knowing it.
Yeah.
So a person who doesn't know it can still enjoy the magic of a progression like that without having to know any of the.
But I mean, I feel that also comes with a lot of influences that that you have brought up, like with listening to. Right?
It's all in the listening. Yeah,
it's all in the early days of like listening. As much as you're listening, those kind of reflect into your songwriting, into your
So it's an education of sorts, not a formal education, but
yeah. So I mean, a lot of bands kind of have a particular sound what makes them right like it is a very specific sound to them associated to them. So do you ever think of that okay, this is the sound that we want to go for?
That's a good question. We do think about it, but we're also what I've realized is that sort of takes like a good 10 maybe 15 years to get that. And I believe in those years, like for the next at least 5-6 releases, we want to experiment as much as possible. Like not crazy experiments, but just within a sound, within like this thing of a sound, we're trying different things to figure it out. And I feel like we'll keep trying until something clicks. And when that thing clicks, then we know, okay, everything goes around this framework now,
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely something we think about, and
so
very important.
What is that experimentation process involves? What is it? How does it involve into your entire creative process? What do you all do?
So I think right now for the upcoming releases, we're what we really want to try is introducing more. So like our music is very raw, feel good, organic. It's all live instrumentation. There's no program stuff or anything like that. So the next one we want to try introducing something more contemporary, like more synth parts and like obvious synth parts, like on the Moog, the kind of stuff Zion does. And we want to see how that can blend into each other. Like there was this great NPR by Phoebe Bridgers, and it was just her and this one guy on the piano, and he had like this synth, this really eerie synth that sounded like like an alien type this thing. But her music is so soulful and very chill and easygoing. It made no sense that synth was there, but it was like a perfect blend, and it gave this really fresh perspective on something that you wouldn't have thought of earlier. So we want to try doing stuff like that, where in the arrangement is where we'll experiment the most with sound.
Got it. So, I mean, so I want to talk about the relationship between a songwriter and a producer and an engineer. So sometimes the producer is the same person as the engineer, and sometimes they're different. So how do you approach a producer? Do you have somebody in mind? Not for like current, probably like the next future releases, but like in the not near future at least, but later on, like some people who you really admire as a producer, who you like want to work with, or
I actually feel like I want to slowly be that. And also even for the last thing, it was me and Sharad who produced it essentially. We don't have the knowledge or the resources to record it, or we don't know how to use the software properly, or like make our tones sound good or whatever. So we need an engineer for sure. It was Nitin for our last EP. But I think for us, it should be me and Sharad, and I would love for us to get more into the production scene, because we really get the vision. And with the producer, essentially you need someone who really understands the vision. Ronak has been helping us a lot with this, and I feel like he's a really good fit for us also, because we have very similar tastes in music, and he also really gets what we're trying to do with the music. So I think with this upcoming stuff, Ronak is going to help us produce it.
Who's Ronak?
Ronak runs Grace Park in Pune.
Okay.
So we recorded our last EP in Grace Park.
Okay.
In fact, they just opened a new studio in Pune, a lovely looking studio. So for this next, we're going to release a couple of tracks in the months to come. So we're going to hit the studio next month and start recording it. So I think this time Ronak would be more involved.
Okay. So as a producer, like you said, you and Sharad want to get into the producing scene. Is this only like pertaining to your songs, or you want to produce like other composers, like songwriters?
Right. I actually would love to produce other songwriters also.
Okay.
I'm a very avid listener of music. I check out a lot of music in a week. And I feel like I've been learning a lot of interesting things about producing a songwriting or whatever it is. So I would love to get in there with a few indie artists and maybe fool around a little bit for sure.
Nice. Because I think in this space, eventually, like, you step up into like being like an instrumentalist, to like a composer, to like a songwriter, to like a session player, to like a producer. So I think
exactly.
What is your so in terms of your music, yourself, what is the end goal probably that you seek? Okay, this is the space that I would want to be in.
Right. I don't know entirely, but what I do know is that it has to be in a studio. Like, I really love being in that studio space and creating a song. Like watching it go from just guitar and voice to like a song. So I definitely, I always, like, when I look at the future and I think of where I want to be, there's always a studio around. So I feel like it'll somewhere in that space for sure. As a producer, I'm not very technically sound with the stuff, and I haven't learnt any of it at any point. Maybe I will, but just as somebody there helping to write a song or produce a song.
Nice. So now I want to talk about a little bit of technology, AI, and how it's kind of, is it affecting the current scene? Probably like you said, your music is pretty organic, raw.
Right.
Everything is live. So do you kind of see it as a growth partner, or do you see it like a threat to the entire music community? So what is your take on all of this?
So I'm not so this thing with the whole AI boom. I don't know much about it, but I'm not scared at all. In fact, I think that there'll always be a space for somebody doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's good in a way, because like we spoke about earlier, it's expensive to hit a studio up and record, and sometimes you don't have the knowledge or the resources to do it yourself in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Something like AI could really help an artist like that. And it's especially to help that artist put out quality music. They don't have to compromise on that one very important thing, which is quality. So I think it's good. Like, it could be really good. It gets a little weird when like holographic ABBA is doing a show in Europe and stuff like that. But it could help, and I think it could also help in other ways, right? Like, it could improve the experience of a live show. There could be a lot of things that are introduced that could be interesting with AI. But yeah, who knows? But I think there'll always be a space for what you're doing. Definitely going to be a space for live music. I don't think it's going to kill that.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows?
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you something about songwriting when it comes to yourself and when it comes to your audiences. I know, like, as an artist, you have to put your songs out, and your audiences are going to consume it. They're the consumers of your product. But then, like, as a personal experience, do you let that kind of affect your songwriting?
It doesn't affect my songwriting. For me, it's the same logic. There's always a space for what you're trying to do. So when it comes to writing the song, I write it exactly the way I want to. I'm also a little, I guess I'm lucky enough to be influenced by a lot of pop music. So most of my songs are written for a larger audience. Where I really start caring about the audience is in the production, at the production level. Like it's all about arrangement at that point, And the funny thing is that the arrangement is the one thing that like your general audience is not really paying attention to.
Correct.
Right? But that's actually the thing that's keeping them, keeping their attention in the song. So for me, that only happens at that level. When it comes to writing the song, we don't really think of the audience too much. We just write. Yeah.
So have you had any like we spoke about audiences and like songwriting, like like studio like let's talk about a little bit of distribution, right? So what are the challenges as a independent musician artist that generally you faced, or like all the budding artists might face?
Right. I think just having quality everything, like content, good pictures, good live videos, a nice press kit. Just having all of these things was a bit of a challenge for us, and we eventually got it. Distribution for us it's so easy to distribute, right? But there is, we just went through like a subscription based distribution situation. It was a little annoying. Like the person, they had like a representative in India who like really didn't give a damn. So he gave us all sorts of information. He just kept saying yes to everything, and then finally when the song's released, none of that stuff happened. So we didn't get playlisted. We didn't like which we were supposed to. Like we spoke about all this stuff. So that way it's a bit of a problem. We're hoping for the next one, maybe now I think we have a decent enough network to get like some direct distribution situations, as opposed to like the subscription based thing.
So in terms of when you think of a brand, like so what all are the things that are involved? Like there's of course songwriting that you have to come up with. Then there is the entire song that comes out once you hit the studio, the production and all of that. So what all, like after that, distribution, etc. So what all are these steps?
So so your songwriting, production, mixing, mastering, all your studio stuff is like 30%-40% of the actual thing.
Wow.
And the most fun part of it. But after that, as soon as you're done with the tracks, first of all, you're gonna keep bouncing back and forth, right? Like you'll get the song, tweak this, tweak that, and then finally when it's ready, you go through your distribution. We went through Horus, basic subscription plan. So it's a yearly plan. So it was some $3,000 a year, and they put it on Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Apple, whatever. They have a few deals where they'll curate you into whatever playlist they have. That is I think the greatest marketing bit of it. Getting put in those playlists, actually you actually see the growth of what, or the power of what that can do. Then everything is on us. It's the content you create, how you're pushing the song essentially. I guess right now the most used medium would be Instagram. And you have these we're slowly trying to understand this. No, I haven't really understood, but you have these meta ad conversion campaigns where same logic. You create something like a reel or whatever. So
do you have an agency or something that you hire, or
no?
No. Okay.
This is
have you thought of like approaching probably somebody to like?
Right now, I don't think we would, because it's still at a level where we can do all this stuff ourselves. We're still building that foundation. So I think it would help for sure, but I think we don't really need to put money into something like that right now, because it's just about doing it. Be a little this thing about it, productive about it. It's not hard to shoot a half decent reel or a half decent video, you know, that will give you the vibe you're looking for or whatever.
100%.
So yeah, it's just for us right now. That's how we're pushing it. Live shows. Live shows for us is the best.
So how do you generally end up getting live shows? Like what do you do? Your music is out, and then what do you do after that?
So we create a press kit, most importantly.
What's a press kit?
We have basically all our pictures, our commercials, our tech rider, which is basically what we're gonna need on our tech for stage. We have a couple of nice live videos for their reference.
Okay.
Whatever articles, if there's been any articles about us or anything, anything we want you to know about the band essentially, and anything that a venue needs to know to host a band. So basically all those details, and that's actually been a little tricky. I don't know what the reason could be, because see, we reach out to venues all the time.
Correct.
And there are venues I've been reaching out consistently for like the past 2 years, but they might reply, but then somewhere along the line they stop replying.
Who in that venue thing do you talk to generally?
They have a programmer. All these venues will have their
programmer.
They have one employee who is a programmer.
Got it.
Those guys are a bit of a pain.
Oh, so all the programmers keep that in mind, okay?
So, but yeah, I mean, some of them are always like really looking out for new acts and
of course,
getting it done. But a lot of them, they have their usual clientele. They know who their musician friends are, or who the good musicians are. So they try to stick within their community.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's numbers. Our numbers are not so high. So maybe that's why we don't get a lot of callbacks. What's worked for us right now? I mean, right now you have so many of these companies pushing indie music. Like we just finished a show at Antisocial last month. It was by 4x4 Experience. And they do this event, which is like a fresh indie find type thing. So they host like 3 indie acts at Antisocial. And just invite whoever. So it's a nice place to find new artists and stuff like that. Most of our shows have been like that. We have this friend Sid Nair in Bangalore. He's been helping us a lot with shows. He really enjoys the music. So he got us to open for Thermal and a Quarter in Antisocial last year. And he got us a really good show in Bangalore last November. So yeah, it's just for the shows, I feel just create the network, keep reaching out. You know, at some point something will click.
Correct. But I mean, so this is where the hard question is, right? Like, does it get overwhelming? Does it get, because you are trying your best to reach out. You're putting in so much effort. It takes months, if not years, to create, what is out,
Right.
So, and if you don't get that support from the community, the people, the audiences, how do you find that rigor, the will, the thing to keep yourself like pushing and going again and again?
It gets frustrating. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, see, you just got to be happy with your product. And in our case, like, we're really happy with the product, so we know it's good. At least we know it's where we want it to be. Past that, we just let it happen. You know, we do the needful. If it works out, it works out. It can get frustrating, but again, also with the music scene, it's not like you're only doing your project, right? You're always doing something else. So we're still playing. I still get to play the guitar. I still get to sing, even if it's not my own music. So yeah, I think all in all, I'm pretty good with the way it is. I would like to do more Adi Rao shows, but you can see it happening slowly. Numbers are increasing. More people are coming to our shows. More people are really enjoying the shows. So you can see it happening. It's just patience, I feel. Yeah.
But then, I mean, of course, yours is like, English music, right?
Yeah.
And then in a market which is so dominant, occupied by like Bollywood or Hindi and
regional
all of
stuff,
these, like, regional stuff for that matter. How do you carve a space for yourself for like the audiences and all of that? So
right, I think we actually have an advantage here in this country with that. It's it's tiny, so its growth is very slow. But compared to like other, like at least compared to the West, for an artist who's just starting off, it's super expensive to be an artist there. Like, first of all, it's not like here where you can put a drum kit in a tech rider and a sound console and all of that stuff. Like, you have to take all that stuff to your venue. You're in charge of getting the audience. You're paying the programmer a programmer's fee. There's all sort of these weird hidden fees. At the end of it, you're not getting so much money. So we have an advantage here with that, because you play these venues, it's a landed deal. Now, whether 2 people come for that show or 200 people come for that show, I'm getting the same amount of money.
What's a landed deal?
So we get a show at Antisocial, let's say, and Antisocial is a gate share place. So let's say Bonobo maybe, and I don't know how much they pay a band, but let's say a 5-piece band is going to get 50,000 rupees. Now, whether I'll invite all my people, whatever, they'll invite their people. If no one shows up, I still get my 50.
Okay.
If that thing is completely packed and they like might make crazy amounts of money in the bar sales or whatever, I still get my 50. So it's like it's a risk-free thing essentially, but you're playing the odds. I mean, I might be able to bring in so many people that actually Gacha would have got me more money. But just in case, you have those you have a lot of those.
And then in this, like, the stage and like all the who pays for like say transport or logistics and all these things.
Yeah. So I mean, for the band, we take it out of whatever fee we're getting.
So in the landed only, it's included.
We included in that. Yeah. So if we can get a good enough landed deal, so our drummer lives in Bangalore, so our first cost goes into sorting out his flights. Tickets.
Yeah.
The next big cost is jam rooms.
Correct.
Yeah. So we hit the jam room like 3-4 days, 6 hours a day. Usually around 6 to anywhere between like 8 and 12,000 rupees goes off in that. Then we put aside money for whatever releases are about to come out. Mostly, I mean, right now the artists don't get paid. So that's you need that kind of, you need to surround yourself with those kind of people who are in it for the music. So most of the money just goes back into the project. For now, for sure.
Looking ahead, what are your dream aspirations or dream projects, so to say? What are your future release plans and all of that?
So I think right now, its short-term plan is just to hit all the festivals this year. And we have a couple of releases coming up. Our plan is to record 5-6 singles, just sprinkle them through this year and next year. Yeah, just a couple of singles here and there. And that's going to give us time to work on an album. So we've been ideating a really cool concept for an album, but little tricky and very time consuming for sure. So we thought, let's get a couple of singles that can keep the project going and we can take a back seat.
So I also wanted to talk about this thing, right? Like album, EP versus a single.
Yeah.
Like a single, probably in terms of thought and emotion, is like one piece of artwork that is coming out.
Yeah.
But then how do you stitch an entire album? Like it's like a feature length film, like, or like a series of films, but the mood, the tone, everything has to be the same.
Yeah.
How do you put your thought into it?
Yeah, it's tough. For me, what works is first having a solid concept.
Okay.
A story, lyrically. Once we have that story sorted, and that starts with me actually writing a small story. So I'll just put out a small story just to get characters, just to get some sense of the characters I'm using, some objects that'll keep recurring and stuff like that. Once we have that, then it's again just about experimentation. I'll write the songs. It's just me and my guitar, and then we'll start seeing how we make this a concept. The sonic concept gets tricky because now there are so many cool things happening. Like you look at Kendrick Lamar's "Good Kid, Mad City," and there's a lot more albums like that. There's so many really good concept albums. So that gets a little tricky because we really want to do something unique. We don't want to just be a concept for concept's sake. So that is the tricky part for us. So we had to figure out. For us also, it's the first time. Never put an album out. So
correct.
Just trial and error.
Yeah. Well, looking ahead, what would your one advice to the future generation, aspiring musicians be?
Well, it's just like work your ass off. That's all. I feel like that's all it is. You don't know what's going to click.
Yeah.
You might start on this one path, and in like 3 years, you could be on a path that's the exact complete opposite. But just I've realized that the harder you work, like every year we're getting more gigs. Every year we're getting a few more these things. It just happens. You work hard and you create your own luck essentially with that hard work. Yeah. I think that's definitely the one.
So one question probably I skipped to ask you was in the songwriting process, you must be writing like a lot of songs. How many of those see the light of the day?
Sometimes, again, like we haven't done so much, so I don't know. But I just keep writing, and you don't know. Like I might have a concept where suddenly that song would just fit in perfectly over there. If it does, I'll just use it. So I have no idea. There are a few songs I know will never
come out.
Okay,
those are for your personal.
Yeah, those are just for me. Real nasty songs.
Okay.
But there are lots that are really good. We still play them live, but we don't have any plans for them as such. Something might happen, something might not happen. It might just die out. You never know. But I just keep writing.
So what is the percentage songs? Probably
I think it would be maybe like a good 60% of just songs I just write.
Will never come out.
Maybe will never come out. Because when we write a concept, we're writing it from scratch.
Wow.
So we don't really pull. It's rare that I feel it's going to be rare that we'll find a song.
Out of 10 songs, only 4 songs will come out, and 6 songs will be like trial and error, scratch. No, not working.
I think so. Okay. And we might play it live. We might play these songs live, and they might eventually come out in this thing. Like if we're doing something like this, like we're recording 5-6 singles, then it's perfect because we don't need a concept. We just need 6 good songs.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll come out in ways like that. Definitely not as collections, but. Could come out ways like this, yeah.
Do you prefer studio more or live more?
Tough. That's a tough one. I love them both like a lot, and this feeling of being on stage and people loving your music.
Do you feel nervous when you're on stage?
Never.
Yeah?
I've never felt nervous on stage.
The stage fright is not there.
It used to be there in school. When we were doing culturals and stuff there like that, it used to be there a little bit, but again not so much. Right now actually my most comfortable spot is on stage.
Amazing.
In front of a mic. I love it, and but I think I'll have to give studio a slight
advantage. Slight edge.
Slight edge. Okay. I love the studio.
Nice. Cool. So now we'll do like a rapid fire round. Right, so a melody you can't get out of your head right now. If I ever get around to living, John Mayer. Okay. One instrument that you'd love to play?
Drums.
Okay. Electric or acoustic?
Acoustic.
Okay. Analog or digital?
Oh, depends, but analog.
Okay. Yeah. Sunrise or sunset for creative inspiration?
I would have to say sunrise because it just always rose where I'm from. So it didn't really sit.
Nice. Your go-to comfort listen?
Right now, I think maybe Josh Roos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since you love food, if music was a cuisine, what would it be for you?
If music was a cuisine, maybe my favorite cuisine is just Indian food. Nice Malayali meal. But maybe Italian seems like. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Your biggest musical guilty pleasure?
Sabrina Carpenter.
One word to describe the feeling you aim to evoke with your music?
Growth. Or maybe hope. Yeah. I feel like the music has always been, since it's just about things I go through and things that happen in my life, it's always a sense of movement, like upward movement or growth. So I think, that would be the word. Yeah. Nice.
Any final closing thoughts from your end? You want to tell the audiences something or?
Yeah, for sure. We check out our EP.
Yes.
Thoughts Freeze. We released it last year in July, I think, between July and August.
It's almost been a year, guys. Come
It's
on.
almost been a year, yeah. And we need a lot more listeners.
Yes.
So go check it out. Share it with your friends. Follow us on Instagram. We have a few singles coming out in the next 2 years. Really cool songs. We're going to be trying some new stuff. So yeah,
Amazing.
stay tuned.
I'm excited. So thanks, Adi, for being here and
Thank you for having
spending time with me and like enlightening me as well, like, you know, as a musician, you know, what all these things are. I hope this has helped you as well. And thanks for watching. I'm Malay from Sound Dada, and stay tuned for the next episode on Sound Dada. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.